what is this crazy thing? I love it when you can take an old fixture that you invested a bunch of time in making and use it for a new job. Alright guys, wanted to show you a little bit about this welding rotisserie fixture that I made years ago. Based on the number of views these homemade tool videos get, I decided to throw another one at you. Enjoy. As you can see from all the different holes drilled in these plates that move back and forth, I've used this fixture to do quite a few different projects. You might remember seeing me use this fixture to narrow the Suzuki Samurai front axle housing for the Mini Gravedigger project. If you haven't seen those videos, be sure to check them out. The main thing that makes this rotisserie fixture different than most is that these arms that you can mount things to are adjustable. They can slide back and forth. This linear slide is actually off of the very first CNC plasma cutter that I built. And I started that back in 1997. Yeah, I'm that old and that big of a nerd. I got this particular linear slide from a metal salvage place, but you can find things like this on eBay or other high-tech auction house type places like that. I got some pipes here of different length, some flanges that I'd like to weld onto the ends, and I'd like, after they're welded, for the bolt holes to be in sync with each other, or in phase from end to end. You can see if I slide these things really close to each other, even to where they touch, you can kind of see how the two plates are lined up in phase with each other. So these sides can each move back and forth, compensate different lengths, and then the whole thing, while you've got something in here and you're going to be welding, can rotate around so you can get to whatever side you need to and weld all the way around while it's still in the jig. So it makes it easy when you're dealing with different length pieces of tube. Got the short one, you can get in there and weld. Or a longer one. Get in there and tack it, spin it around, tack, and then weld it all up. When you go to make one of these, really the business end is right here at this pivot point. It's about that point that this thing rotates and makes it easy for you to get in and weld all different angles of the project that you happen to be working on. So everything from here down is just a stand to hold it in place. It's got to be heavy enough to keep it from falling over when you rotate things around. I've got this on wheels just like about every other tool in my shop, just because I have very limited space and try to do way too much. So these are just some old weights. Obviously I don't work out. So these weights just kind of counteract the weight of this linear slide so that it's fairly balanced as you rotate it around. Although that all goes out the window when you mount something in here, because I have no control over what that might be. One of the things to think about when you're building your own rotisserie fixture is this pivot point needs to be free enough that you can move the whole assembly around. But it has to have enough friction that it will hold it in position no matter where you leave it. All I did for my pivot point was cut a couple circular discs with a hole in the middle, and then you can see that bolt going through there, so it all pivots around that 1/2 inch bolt. And it's kind of hard to tell, but if you look in between there, there's a gap because I put a washer in there. It turned out that these two plates riding on each other was a little too much friction, made it hard to adjust. But with a washer in there, and it's a big fender washer, so it's close to 2 inches in diameter. And then you can see there's a nylock nut on the inside, so I can set the tension in that bolt, and the nylock nut keeps it still. And that gives just the right amount of friction that I can easily move it, but it also stays put once I stop moving it. So I've removed all the nuts holding these things in here. I can just support it, separate that, pull that out of there, grab the bolts out of it. And I have got the 2 flanges welded on each end, and they are actually even in line with each other. Worked pretty slick. Okay, what in the actual adult-sized erector set have we got going on here?
Just in case you were curious what these parts are for, what happens when you corral a 6-foot 4-inch fabricator into a cubicle at his day job? He builds himself a tall desk out of scrap pieces of Schedule 80 pipe, of course.